The next morning, I called all the top scientists I knew together via the terminal for those elsewhere and in person for those who lived on LVN. I began, looking at each in turn from my hospital bed. I do not know if what I have been experiencing is possible, but from what I gather, the wormhole near India 7 is man-made. An experiment gone wrong that is now killing the planet and causing the timelines to converge in that one location. They remained silent for a moment. We have been trying to fix Project Foxtrot Tango Hotel for decades now. No one has been able to figure out how to fix it. We just have to move the people off. A woman with her dark hair pulled back into a bun at the nape of her neck concluded in a stern voice, raking her cold, steel-gray eyes over me, India 7, and then let the wormhole collapse and India 7 die. I folded my arms across my chest and determined, that is unacceptable. Tony and I are on a mission from the President of the United States. Then I tilted my head to the side and asked Zay, who stood in his black flight coveralls, at the foot of my bed, do we really know that India 7 would die if we let the wormhole collapse? If this is a man-made wormhole, could we not figure out how to discontinue it? Do we have evidence that India 7 was dying before the introduction of the wormhole? We do not know anything about India 7 before the introduction of the wormhole, Zay told me, coming to sit on the side of my bed. He studied me, then felt my head. You're burning up. I'm going to get one of the doctors. He stood and headed to the doors, sliding out them. The woman twisted her mouth and asked in a softer voice, there is no evidence that it was dying before the wormhole, but we have no history for this planet. The information has been sealed by the supervisors, and they refuse to give anyone access. Interesting. I responded, looking my eyes to Tony, then back to the people on my terminal. Let me see if there is anything I can do to get those records unsealed, Tony interjected as he wrote something on his pad. Just then a tall, lean woman with jet black hair with her tresses long on top and short in the back led a doctor into the room who I recognized as Dr. Margaret Maggie Pierce, the Assistant Chief Medical Officer. She wore her long, blonde hair in two braids that fell about the shoulders of her mint-colored scrubs. Her eyes a pale blue, the color of the clear ocean. Her ivory-colored skin covered with freckles. The doctor came over to me and checked the readings on the diagram monitor connected to my arm. She grunted every few seconds. What is that about? Was the fever indicative of something more than just Bakir syndrome? Or the chemical in my system? The dark-haired woman rushed over to the other side of the bed and threw her arms around me. Alex, it is so good to see you. I always hoped that son of mine would come to his senses and get back with you. I like you. I have never liked any of his other girlfriends before or after you. Phil, I replied, giving her a brief smile, he is back with me, but he might not be if we do not solve this. She sat on the bed and handed me the chips. These are from Drew's dad. He told me to tell you that he has been trying to piece together Rex's life and why he disappeared too, but they are in code. Phyllis Walton, this is Antonio Ashton, I introduced, gesturing to Tony. Could you give him the chips? He can download them and have Fireball, one of my contacts, decode them. As I watched Say return, I decided, I say we do a holographic simulation of the wormhole and India 7. We could use the terminal, but I feel like it would be beneficial to see what would happen if we shut down the wormhole, if we let it collapse, and if we found a way to stabilize it. As far as I can see, those are our three options. The woman with the bun insisted, glaring at me, it is impossible. We have been trying to figure this out for over 100 years, researching all the options, and we always come to the same conclusion, India 7 is going to die. Nothing is impossible. It is just an unsolved puzzle that you haven't found the solution to yet, I persisted, then turned to Zay. Can you set them all up in your lab and then work on the key to this? What are you going to work on? Zay questioned, kissing my head, then gazed at the doctor. What is going on with her, doctor? Why is she so hot? I don't know, Dr. Pierce said in an aspirated tone. I'm going to put her on a fever reducer, but that is not going to help if we do not know the cause. From my analysis of the soil on India 7, the planet has been in existence for about 2.2 billion years. The problem is we know nothing, I answered Zay, suddenly feeling anxiety rise among those on the terminal, before 100 years ago about India 7 because the records are sealed. I'm going to figure out why. The anxiety became terror. What was that about? Just then I started to shake uncontrollably. I felt like I was on an amusement park ride that went berserk. What's wrong with her? Zay demanded, looking to Dr. Pierce, who fumbled with the buttons on the Diag monitor before admitting she did not know. I think it has something to do with the chemicals in her system, I heard her say before I fell back onto the bed and felt all the energy leave me. Mom, Dominic started, sitting next to me on the bed, nodding to Dr. Pierce, please tell the doctor over there that you need to be set up in your own quarters. You are still being exposed to the chemical in the hospital. It is causing the fever and the convulsions. It is reaching dangerous levels. I nodded and reached out to touch his hand. Okay, is everyone else in danger? No, just you. They have been trying to kill you. Who has been trying to kill me? The supervisors. You can expose their secrets. They want their secrets to die with the planet, and here you are trying to save it. I have to save the planet? I have to unjumble the timelines. I have to bring your dad back. I don't want to live my life without your dad. He doesn't want to live it without you either, but you need to figure all this out. Otherwise, India 7 will die and the secrets will remain buried, I will stay where I am, and Dad will never come back. You need to get justice for Ethan and me. You? The crash? You are dead because they were trying to kill me? He nodded, then kissed my head. Mom, you have to fix this. Any ideas how? He twisted his mouth and admitted, Granddaddy, your dad, and grandmother, Dad's mom knows how. Then he disappeared.